In a distant star system, there exists an alliance of 78 different races known as the Galactic Alliance. This alliance sometimes governs a single planet and at other times rules over 4 entire star systems. Officially, the goal of the Galactic Alliance is to maintain peace and stability across the galaxy, and it is celebrated as a symbol of freedom and justice. However, in reality, it is merely a facade for pursuing power and interests. Once, the Galactic Alliance was strong and respected, but over the years, its power has weakened, with each race gaining more autonomy. Ultimately, true power has concentrated in the hands of 8 races within the Galactic Alliance, each with its own power base and sphere of influence, often leading to disputes and even public conflicts. The only thing restraining them is each other. When one race becomes stronger, the others unite to suppress it. This balance has been maintained until now. A silver interstellar yacht sails through the dark space, luxuriously decorated. On the top deck is a room with a glass dome, through which the nebula outside flickers with waves of blue, purple, and soft orange, making the entire room look like a living artwork. However, for the few people in the room, all this has lost its meaning as their eyes are focused on the dining table. Is everything ready? We have only one chance to win their support, Alina asks, adjusting the cutlery again and stepping back to check her work. The table is set with 6 seats, with their guests placed at the honor position. She has investigated their guests' backgrounds and found that their tradition dictates that the person at the head of the table holds the greatest power. You really should let the servants handle this, Carno says, standing by the table and pouring 2 glasses of wine, handing one to Irina beside him and taking the other himself. Agreed, Irina gently sips her wine with her wings. We are people of status, and it is the servant's job to handle such menial tasks. Elena slightly adjusts the napkins and wine glasses, then steps back again and exhales deeply. She joins the two, pours herself a glass of wine, and downs it in one go. Servants sometimes make mistakes, but I don't. Therefore, whenever something important comes up, I handle it myself to ensure perfection. Carno rolls his eyes and is about to pour another glass of wine, but Alina does it for him. Your obsession with details will be the death of you one day, he laughs. Our obsession with details increased our trade profits by 20% last quarter while you had to apply for no fewer than 12 interstellar loans, she mocks. Carno blushes. The interaction between the 3 is incredible. Elena is a Turai, a humanoid race with silver-white skin where females dominate society. Carno is from a race called the Drive, known for their combat and aggression. He is tall with gray skin and a black scale running from his head down his back. Irina is the most peculiar, being part of a semi-mechanical race with a body that is a fusion of human torso and mechanical parts. Her race initially sought to expand through technology, but quickly realized the entire galaxy's opposition was a bad idea, so they sought peace and adopted a long-term strategy, even partially concealing their mechanical faces to appease others. The silver lines on her face shimmer with her voice's vibrations whenever she speaks. They are all one of the 8 secret manipulators within the Galactic Alliance who never meet publicly. This time is a special occasion, and even chatting and drinking like friends is to win the trust of their guests. The door opens and the 3 turn to look at the newcomer. The 4th member, Zinx, enters. He is short and feline-like in appearance, but his race is one of the galaxy's finest scouts and intelligence brokers. His fingers are adorned with various gems sparkling with rainbow hues, and he wears the finest silk robes. Seeing the 3, he raises his hands. Ah, my friends. So glad to see you've already started the party. I feared my tardiness would bore you. Carno raises his glass. Zinx, my friend, if I were truly bored, I would drink half your wine stock and pass out on the floor, he laughs heartily, and everyone follows suit. My friends, let me introduce our esteemed guest. Zinx steps aside, inviting the figure behind the door to enter. The figure's gentle tapping of a cane draws the 3's attention. It is a simple metal cane with a complex geometric pattern carved at the top. The figure's attire is simple yet exudes a former military vibe, with not a single wrinkle in the clothes, almost perfect, which immediately catches Alina's eye. Finally, they look up to see the guest's face. It is the human representative Erich von Model, a former military general recently elected as his race's spokesperson. He approaches the 3, extending his hand. Finally meeting my colleagues is an honor, especially ones as respected as you. Erich speaks with a thick German accent. Carno steps forward and shakes Erich's hand, although due to the size difference, it is more like Carno's hand enveloping Erich's. The honor is mine. I've read about your history. You were a great warrior for your race, Carno says. He sees the anger on Zinx's face at the use of the past tense, but before he can correct it, Model smiles. You are too kind. I was just a general at the end of my career. The most dangerous thing then was avoiding paper cuts while signing documents. Model laughs and Carno joins in. Model then moves towards Alina, who extends her hand and Model takes it and kisses it lightly. Alina is slightly taken aback, unsure how to respond. Seeing her expression, Model realizes he might have offended her. If I have offended you, please forgive me. This gesture is deeply rooted in my race's tradition. On my planet, it is how men show respect to women. He then bows. You are quite the gentleman, mister. Model Alina says, signaling for him to rise. I apologize, it is rare in my race to see such respectful men, which caught me off guard, she says. He rises, smiling at her. Lastly, Arena steps forward, but does not extend her hand. I know my race is considered frightening to many, and I do not wish to put you in an uncomfortable position. Model is briefly puzzled, but then smiles again. My dear, beauty is always in the eye of the beholder. You should not hide yourself because you also hide from those who would appreciate your beauty. He still extends his hand, and Arena, after a moment's hesitation, takes it, watching him repeat the bow and kiss her claw. You know, he says as he rises, on my planet, some people would find you very attractive. Arena tilts her head. You must be joking. Model shakes his head. I swear I am not. Some would line up to court you. Arena remains silent, observing if he is telling the truth, while the others are unsure how to respond to this awkward situation. Model releases her hand, still smiling. Remind me to tell you about a place on our planet called Japan after this meeting. Your words are quite flattering. I must say I'm interested. She bows, her mind now filled with human-induced thoughts. Zinx interrupts. Now that introductions are over, I must insist we eat. He gestures for everyone to sit as he leads Model to his seat. Model suddenly stops. I cannot sit at the head of the table. He looks down at Zinx. Zinx looks slightly worried as if his research had gone wrong, but Model continues. You are the host of this gathering. It is very impolite for me to take the head seat. Zinx breathes a sigh of relief, patting Model on the back. Come on, friend, you are our guest. Please, I insist. He gestures for Model to sit again, and Model finally relents, taking the head seat and looking down at the others. Well then, our first course is several courses later. All guests are satisfied. Arena remains silent, observing if he is telling the truth, while the others are unsure how to respond to this awkward situation. Model releases her hand, still smiling. Remind me to tell you about a place on our planet called Japan after this meeting. Your words are quite flattering. I must say I'm interested. She bows, her mind now filled with human-induced thoughts. Zinx interrupts. Now that introductions are over, I must insist we eat. He gestures for everyone to sit as he leads Model to his seat. Model suddenly stops. Did you enjoy the meal? Alina asks Model. He pats his stomach, smiling at Alina. The meal was so delicious that I seriously considered surgery to expand my stomach to eat more. Please convey my compliments to the chef. He smiles in return. I am sure they will be thrilled to hear your words. Alina picks up a bell from the table and rings it once. A group of servants silently enters the room, swiftly clearing all the plates and cutlery, replacing them with new drinks and glasses, then leaves. Zinx pours himself a glass of wine. Now that we have finished our meal, it is time to discuss the real agenda of this meeting. The others pour their wine, and as the curtains close, covering the glass dome, only candlelight illuminates the room. Zinx pours Model a new glass of wine, but he politely declines. I suspected this meeting was more than just an introduction. Indeed, my friend Zinx places a device on the table, and a map of the galaxy is projected with a flash of light. Colored borders form, showing the distribution of major government entities. It is well known that there exists an inner circle within the Galactic Alliance that holds true power. This is no secret. What is unknown are the specific members of this circle. He points to the others at the table. We are 4 of these members. They all look at Model, waiting for his reaction, but he simply folds his hands and watches quietly. Recently, Zinx continues to. One of the 8 members has become increasingly profitable, threatening the balance among the 7 others. I guess you are referring to the Boltar? They all stare at Model in surprise. How do you know? Humans may be a young race, but we are not stupid. We can deduce the truth. Model looks at their puzzled faces and smiles. Zinx coughs and continues. Yes, despite repeated warnings, the Boltar have rapidly grown in power over the past generation, and now easily rival 3 of the 8. If left unchecked, they could threaten us all. Why do you need my help? Model interjects. Carno turns to him, laughing. What makes you think we need your help? Model smiles. As I said, we humans can sometimes deduce the truth. This scenario is not new to us, he points at them. A new member suddenly meets with the top leaders. Coupled with your politeness towards me, you are currying favor to gain my support. No one speaks. It seems human political wisdom has exceeded their expectations. We do not need your help to take down this rebellious member, Alina says. We are fully capable of handling it ourselves. What we need from you is to stay out of it, Alina says, leaning slightly over the table. Model looks at her, seeing her poor attempt at seduction, and laughs. You share the longest border with the Boltar. We hope you can persuade your leaders to remain neutral when we take action. In return, well, there will be a vacant ruling seat to fill. Zinc smiles, extending his hand. What do you think? After a long silence, Model looks at Zinx's hand and smiles. Thank you for the dinner, but I must decline your offer. Zinx's hand trembles slightly. What did you say? I said humanity will not accept your offer. Though it is tempting, however, I hope we can establish better relations to promote mutual understanding. Shut up. Zinx roars, slamming the table. You little wretch, how dare you? Model remains unfazed by Zinx's outburst and seems ready to say more, but Alina gently pats his shoulder to calm him. May I ask why you refuse? Model shrugs. In short, we have a defensive alliance treaty with the Boltar spanning many years. We have no legitimate reason to break it and are obligated to defend them if they are attacked. Secondly, considering your inner circle's tendency to easily betray each other, even if we became members, it would be difficult to establish a relationship on such an unstable foundation as you could destroy humanity at any time. Lastly, Model smiles. You seem to have never considered why the Boltar suddenly became so powerful. He looks around at their confused faces. Despite studying human culture, you did not take the time to study our trade agreements, did you? Still puzzled faces. Oh my God, do I have to spell it out for you? Humans have been trading with the Boltar. We are the reason they have become so powerful. They all stare at him, shocked. Impossible, Carno exclaims. It's hard to believe, considering your arena trails off. It's okay, we know our technology is not as advanced as yours, Model interjects. But it turns out we have a cash crop that the entire galaxy loves, and it only grows on Earth. Everyone loves potatoes, so we sell them through the Boltar as intermediaries, taking a cut while they gain a thriving trade industry. This makes no sense, Alina interjects. Why would you give them a monopoly instead of monopolizing it yourself? Model shrugs. Simply put, we were testing the waters. We can cut off the supply at any time, but for now we are satisfied with taking a cut and gaining a strong ally in the process. This changes things, Zinx whispers. Model nods, standing up. I'm glad I could change your mind about acting against the Boltar. Let me escort you back to your ship, Arena says, also standing. I am delighted to share this time with you again, Hive Lord Arena, he says, smiling. She tilts her head slightly, making Model smile even more. I also did my research on you, my friends. The two start walking towards the door. You misunderstand me, Eric von Model Zinx interjects as they reach the door. I said this changes things, but I didn't say how. He manipulates the holographic map, showing the Boltar territories being divided and split. We have tried playing fair. Now we play dirty. If you do not remain neutral in the upcoming conflict, you will be next. The map changes, showing human territories also being attacked and divided. Do you understand, little one? Model's smile fades. I'm sorry, he says, walking towards Zinx, the cane tapping louder. It seems I am getting old, and my hearing is not as good. He stands before Zinx, still seated. I couldn't hear you clearly from over there, he points to Arena, but it sounded like you were threatening me. Zinx, of course, Zinx smirks, taking a sip of his drink. You did not mishear, foolish ape. Do as we say, or you will be next. Model looks at Alina and Carno. Do you agree with this? They do not speak but nod. Very well, calmly, Model unscrews the top of his cane, revealing a revolver inside. He quickly fires, shattering the glass in Zinx's hand, scattering shards everywhere. Alina hides under the table, and Carno prepares to stand up, but Model points the gun at him, stopping him. Model gestures for him to sit down. Zinx still stares at his bleeding hand. Clever enough to bypass your guards and detection devices with a gun, right, Zinx? Model whispers in Zinx's ear. Now do I have your attention? Zing X nods repeatedly. He turns to Carno. What about you? Do I have your attention? Carno nods. Model looks for Alina, still hiding under the table. Dear, if I wanted to kill you, I would have shot you first. Now please sit down. She slowly emerges from under the table, returning to her seat. Is this supposed to comfort me? She trembles. I admit it's not my best line, but at least it got you out from under the table. He steps back, sitting at the head of the table, still pointing the gun at Carno. I truly hope we can be friends, he says, showing his white teeth. As friends, I give you this warning and hope you take it seriously. After ensuring he has their full attention, Model continues. Do not interfere with humanity or our ally.